I'm going to go straight for the jugular.
Oh, I know what's coming.
Dry hump on the barricade.
Get yourself a Kevlar condom.
Yeah. Alrighty. So, welcome to Whiskey, Lead, and Steel. Feelings hurt while you wait.
Stand by for heavy rolls.
The official podcast of Aggressive Defensive Solution. I'm Lee Curling, and this is
Rick Sutton.
Alrighty. So, Rick, what are we going to talk about today?
Today, we're going to talk about a few of our pet peeves. You know, because feelings hurt while you wait is in the name of the show.
It is.
Yeah, and for good friggin' reason. So, I'm going to let you go first, because I'm warming to the subject.
Yeah,
and because I'm going to get a chuckle out of the ones that I know you want to talk about.
I'm going to go straight for the jugular.
Oh, I know what's coming.
All right. And that is dry hump on the barricade.
Get yourself a Kevlar condom so you get no splinters.
I mean, it's dry hump on the barricade. I mean, you know, second Saturday, at some of our training, you know, the use of barricades, and, you know, there's appropriate barricade management.
Mm-hmm.
Standoff distance from the barricade, you're behind the barricade, you are using that as cover and concealment, right? Cover, generally in the barricades that we use, right? You know,
yeah.
Don't want to get into, you know, cover versus concealment, right? That's a whole
Sure.
different thing. But, you know, all of that with barricade management is there's a standoff distance. You're shooting from behind the barricade. I mean, just so many people want to get up on top of the barricade, putting the gun in front of the barricade, telegraphing their position, using the barricade as a shooting platform, which, you know, that's a whole different subject. You know, barricade versus shooting platform, you know, stable shooting platform. But just drives me nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Over and over and over and over again. Don't dry hump the barricade. Learn how to use a barricade properly.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, because because I see it all the time, and so the whole purpose behind the barricade being out there is to give you the opportunity to practice making good use of cover and concealment. Mm-hmm. And then they just run right up, stick their gun past it. They don't. If you're using a barricade correctly, you're shooting from an uncomfortable position because you're working angles. Mm-hmm. Right? You're having to stand off, you have to lean into it, you have to lean out, you have to counterbalance. There's all this shit that goes into it that if you just run up and lay up on there, you know, like it's Britney Spears and jam your gun past it, you're not getting any training value out of that. So I agree. It's funnier to watch you lose your shit about it though, because you so very rarely lose your shit about anything that anytime we bring up the whole dry hump and the barricade thing, it's kind of enjoyable. It's like a surprise fireworks show. So go ahead. Finish what you're saying.
No, and it says, or, you know, you say, you know, so you're getting no training value out of it. Well, you are. You're getting training value out of it. It's just bad training because that's what you're going to do if you ever need to use it.
Yep.
You can go lay yourself out, you know, all over top of some type of cover, and you are exposing yourself. Quite often what we see in the bad use of cover is I'm using it as a platform, therefore I'm laying myself up there, and now I'm exposing, you know, if you're laying over top of the barricade, you are telegraphing your position.
Yeah.
Right? Because a bad guy out there, you know, knows
exactly
where to put down those rounds. But the other part is, you know, this getting shot anywhere in here, from here to here, is bad.
Super bad.
That's bad,
Super
right?
Bad, yeah.
You know, if you want to die, get shot here.
Yeah.
Right? You know, as opposed to, you know, work at an angle, right?
Work on the side, work on the... Or even if you work back off the barricade. If you have to shoot above the barricade, you at least want to get back from it.
Back from it, right? That's the whole point of barricade management.
Also, you limit
barricade humping.
Yeah, and you limit your movement.
Exactly.
Get close to the barricade, you limit your movement. If the barricade
right.
were cover and it took a hit,
right. splinters, everything else, right? Or fragments.
Yeah, if you're leaned up on a brick wall and somebody hits a brick wall, you're gonna feel it.
Absolutely, right. If you lay your hands around the side of there, you hit it, and right, bricks shatter. You end up hurting your hand, right? Broken fingers, broken hand, broken whatever, or just hurt. But you mentioned the other thing, right? The other part of that is you limit your mobility. Mm-hmm. If you're shooting from one side of the barricade and you need to move, now you got to back up and move as opposed to just simply moving.
Costing time and energy.
Costing time and energy. We talked about that on a different episode.
Yep.
Costing time and energy. So anyway, don't dry hump the barricade. Learn how to use a barricade, and don't upset me in the future. There you go. There's one pet peeve.
That's right.
So Rick, what you got?
Buy that barricade a drink first. So one of my big pet peeves is, and everybody can do what they want to do. This is America. This is the home land of the free and home of the brave. Do what you want to do, but
not if it's dry hump the barricade.
Not dry hump the barricade.
You need consent first.
Stop wearing your ball cap backwards. Okay, you're not fucking Chris Kyle. Let me explain what a ball cap does for you when you're around shooting. So first off, if you're shooting a handgun and you've got your ball cap on, your ball cap facing the way it's supposed to is going to prevent hot brass, from sliding down your face and getting stuck behind your eye pro. Been there, done that. That's why I wear a ball cap correctly all the time as opposed to not wearing a ball cap. I didn't wear my ball cap backwards. I just wasn't wearing a ball cap. And I got hot 9mm brass caught between my my eyebrow and my Oakleys. And it was fucking unpleasant. So if you're shooting handguns or carbines or submachine guns or anything like that, we got a lot of brass flying around, the ball cap, worn when worn correctly, will prevent you from getting your face burned. Secondly, the entire time that I was in the Marine Corps, from 1986 to 2005, every time I went to qualify with my M16A2, we shot with open sights, and we had to shoot all the way out to 500 yards for quals every year. Every single time I did that, I wore my Marine Corps issue cover, which looks a lot like a ball cap, except way cooler. And I wore it correctly, because I'm a jarhead. And in doing so, the bill of the cover rested above the rear sight aperture of the M16A2. Mm-hmm. And as a result of that, I didn't get any glare, and I didn't get any shadowing that would prevent me from making proper use of my sight aperture. Now, as time has gone by, I've continued to shoot long guns, wear a ball cap almost all the time, mostly keep my noggin from getting cooked because I'm running out of hair. But even when I shoot a scoped gun, I wear my ball cap correctly because it does the same thing. It sits on top of the scope. It prevents shadowing and glare from the rear lens of the scope. It's just a good idea. Now, I get it. You put your ball cap on backwards, and then I guess that makes it easier so that you create less drag when you go into Starbucks and get your extra penal latte. But it doesn't serve any purpose. And if you're not a baseball catcher, you shouldn't be wearing your ball cap backwards. If you're going to do that, just don't wear a ball cap. Just like wear a beanie or a yarmulke or something. Okay? But your ball cap backwards is fucking cheesy. Stupid cheesy. It's my pet peeve. One of my pet peeves. Probably my big pet peeve. That and the whole... Really? Well, that and the other one that we're going to talk about. Unless you jump on that one. But go ahead.
Catching rounds. You're unloading your weapon. Don't catch your rounds. Right? Why? It creates a trading scar. Right?
But it's so cool.
It is kind of neat.
I'm so cool.
And you know what? Ammo's expensive, so I don't want to drop 30 cents on the ground and then clean it off later. So I'm going to catch a round. Don't do that, right? And why? I mean, you give me, you can...
Horrible weapons handling.
Mm-hmm.
Here, I'll show you. Clear weapon?
Clear
Weapon? Okay, so at the end of the stage, I have to take my magazine out, lock my slide to the rear so I can show the RSO. Look, I have a clear weapon. Now, I don't know how I'm going to do that if what I've done is this. Because the slide's not locked to the rear, and I'm not looking where the fucking gun is. I'm off here doing some other crazy shit. Gotta catch this. And now I gotta put this round away and then lock my slide to the rear and then show it to the RSO and show it to these other people and then probably break dance with it or some shit and put it back in my holster, thus causing all the people in the line behind me not to think that I'm cool, but to think that I'm a fucking chode. Because that's a chode move. Sorry, Eric Balake. It's a chode move. I told you it's a chode move. We're friends. You know that. Your feelings shouldn't be hurt. Chode move.
Probably not. But like I said, it is definitely, and I think not only is the training scar because it's maybe you're going to do that at the wrong time, right? But it is also you hit the nail on the head. It is you're not paying attention where the muzzle of that weapon is as you're spinning around trying to catch that. You are paying more attention to trying to catch the round than actually safe weapon handling.
Yeah.
Right. And it's you've got a gun in your hand, and of course, it's unloaded at that point, unless you forgot to drop the magazine first. Not the first time I've seen that.
Nope.
Where people are thinking one step ahead of going, well, I want to catch this round.
Because the two chicks who were on the range are going to be looking at me.
No, they're not. No, they're not.
They are, because I did peacock feathers first.
Feathers. All right.
So here, look, I'll show you a cool thing. Slides forward, right? Dump your mag. Don't catch your mag. Dump your mag. Now watch this. Rotate your gun and pull the slide back to lock it. And the round will fall out almost directly between your feet. And then you can show your weapon, and then you can just bend over and pick your round up. And you don't have to show how fabulous you are. Wag your gun around. Wave your gun. Hello, look at me. Peacock fingers. Jode.
There we go. Alrighty. So there we go. So we've had catching rounds,
Stupid ass hat backwards.
Hats backwards, and dry humping the barricade.
Humping the barricade. Yeah.
Right.
Not knowing how your fucking gun works is some of the chodiousness you can do. We're at a match last week, and I had 3 dudes, all of them together, nice guys.
Mm-hmm.
All of them.
Don't say it.
I'm not.
Okay.
Carry a gun for a living.
Yep. Okay.
Right? So they're doing their press check breakdancing, and I asked each of them in turn, like, hey, why are you doing that? Well, I want to make sure I got a live round in the chamber. I was like, well, why don't you just use your loaded chamber indicator? My what? I said, yeah, let me show you on your Glock. See that? That's a loaded chamber indicator. And if it's dark, you can just run your finger across that and feel that. Oh, I didn't know. Oh, that's amazing. That's awesome. So look, if you're going to carry something for a living and you're going to carry something to defend your life and the life of other people, know how it works. Know where all the buttons are. Know, how about this one? If you're going to carry an optic on your handgun, know how to actually turn the fucking thing on and change the brightness. Or set how you want it to set. I can't tell you how many times I get people who show up who spend a bunch of money. Some of them carry their guns for a living, some of them don't. But they showed up, they spent all this money on gear, guns, gear, whatever, and they don't know how it works. You have wasted your money. You have wasted my time. Don't do that. You're being a chode. What's something else you don't like?
Well, you kind of stole my thunder on that because I was going to go. No. You're absolutely right. So, I was press checks. Press checks drive me crazy because modern firearms have loaded chamber indicators on it, and the number of people that do not understand that there's a loaded chamber indicator, what it's for, how to use it properly, and is surprising to me. I mean, there's a number of people that I have shown that are all about it.
Carrying an $800 gun and don't know how it works.
Right. Well, and what surprises me on something like that is the loaded chamber indicator is I mean that's a safety feature. It is.
Yeah.
It is designed as a safety feature for that.
Yep.
Now we have an entire episode that has a huge amount of it that talks about press checks and why you shouldn't do that. But so we won't go into all of those details. But the loaded chamber indicator, and I will caveat it every time I say it, that it is not an unloaded chamber indicator.
Nope.
Right? We can tell that there's a round in the chamber, but we are not going to definitively say that gun is clear
unless we can see into
unless
the
we
chamber.
can actually see into the chamber, right? But yeah, I think it does dovetail into your understanding how your weapon operates, and I guess for me, while it is the press check, it is really does go into what you said, which is not understanding how weapon works, right?
Yeah.
What the features and functions of the weapon are, right?
If you're carrying an ambidextrous weapon, you should know that you can run your slide catch on either side, right? Or if you've got a manual safety that's ambidextrous, you ought to know that. It boggles the mind that people go to the trouble and expense, buy a high quality handgun out here, and then go out and buy a bunch of ammo and magazines and holsters and shit and pocket knives and Leatherman and drop bags and plate carriers and all the other shit you've got to have if you're going to go shoot Second Saturday Series.
But do not know how their gun operates.
Don't know how the gun operates. Don't know how their holsters work. Don't know how to put their gear on.
Don't know how to adjust the tension on their holster.
Yeah, don't know how to adjust the tension on their holster. Don't know. All right, if you're wearing body armor, you should know how body armor fits, and you should know how to adjust body armor. Everybody who wears body armor for a living knows that body armor should be borderline uncomfortably snug. Same thing as your gun belt. If your gun belt is loose and flopping around, it's not doing you any good. It ought to be snug. Yeah, people who show up with their shit all flopping off of them, they look like a saggy baggy elephant. Makes me want to choke them out. And it's not just because I'm a jarhead, though I'm sure that does play into it. But you're not being functional. If you're not going to be functional, then why are you out here doing this?
Yeah. So, you should be functional.
Yeah.
Your gun belt should be secured, right to an inner belt, right, with keepers or the whole cool new thing is Velcro. I'm good with that.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah, there's some cool shit out there.
Amy has a a Velcro inner belt with a Velcro on the my gun belt has some Velcro on the inside of it, but of course that wasn't the big thing when I got that one. But that or keepers, right? Your gun belt should be secured.
Or even if you're not wearing a full belt, but if you're wearing a gun on your pants or in your pants, you should have a belt that snugs that down.
Yes.
If you got to constantly pull your pants up because your belt's so loose and your gun's hanging off of it, you're not doing yourself any good.
Absolutely. And holsters, there's level 1, level 2, level 3, holsters, right? It's all, right. But on a level 1 holster, right, almost all the Kydex holsters have some type of retention screw on there, right? And it needs to be snug down to the point that you can have some movement without your gun going flying. How many times do we see somebody that is running from point A to point B and a gun goes flying out?
Guns, magazines aren't snug in it.
Right.
When I first became a police officer, if you wanted to carry a different holster or a different gun off duty or as a backup, one of the things that you had to do in your qualification is you had to do a forward roll with your gun in the holster, and it had to stay in the holster. That was a requirement for you to be able to carry that holster. I don't think they do that anymore because, like, I know the beach, they issue you a holster and they go, "This is what you can carry on duty and off duty," and that's it.
Okay.
Different animal. But yeah, you should. Yeah, your gear. We've seen people bend over to pick something up and their holster falls off, or
magazines fall.
Yeah, magazines fall, or they move from point A to point B, and when they get there, everything has migrated. because nothing's snugged down, nothing's loose, everything's loose, nothing's in place the way it's supposed to be. And again, know your gear, know how your gear works. If you're not paying attention to that, you're setting yourself up for failure. Either if you're trying to shoot in a competition, or if you're going to be a defensive gun carrier, you need to know where all that shit is, and you need to know how to work. Don't be a spode.
Yeah. Any alibis, rocks, bottles, hand grenades?
No, this is kind of cathartic. It's almost as good as the vodka in your coffee you had earlier. It's pretty good. So
vodka. Don't put vodka in your coffee. There's other stuff you can put in your coffee, but not vodka. Crazy talk.
Everclear. Yeah. Put Everclear in your coffee.
There you go. That'll light it on fire. All right, so thanks for watching. Hopefully we didn't hurt anybody's feelings too much.
If your feelings got hurt, understand it's in the name, and lighten up, Francis.
Maybe those people wearing their hats backwards might have gotten their feelings hurt. I mean, somebody's out there.
That guy's a dick.
Catching rounds, and the press check community, their feelings probably got hurt too.
Press check community.
Yeah. But most of the rest of it, I think, is
it's all in good fun anyway.
It's sage advice, and it's all in good fun.
Yeah, so, we're not trying to hurt your feelings just because you're a spode.
Yes, we are. He is. All right, so we'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening. Hope you found it entertaining. Because feelings hurt while you wait is in the name of the show.
It is.
Yeah, and for good friggin' reason.